at the Discovery Center, and according to Ken, we have a lot of people are intimately familiar with the project. It's been going on for some time, and some people maybe are not as up to date of what's going on and what we're trying to accomplish here. But yeah, just a quick review on the Discovery Center itself. There's 46 acres here. It is a county park, and the Discovery Center has got a 99-year lease to basically run the facility, not as a park, but as an interpretive center. And our goal is to educate several generations, starting with younger kids and stuff, people in grade school and stuff like that, to become stewards of the river. But other generations of showing them the importance, what's unique about the McKenzie River Valley, what's unique about the river, what forms the river. It's the drinking water for 200,000 people in the valley. And really to teach everybody, more about the culture, the history behind it, the people that were involved in developing the McKenzie, and then telling the story of things like the iconic boats, the uniqueness of the fish, the red sides, and the runs that we have, and really try to get it to become not only an education destination, but also kind of a stepping stone for economic development in the valley, where people would come here as a destination, and then we'd be able to point them to whether it's Blue River, the Blue Pool, maybe Sahalee Falls, other kinds of things throughout the valley. It would be kind of a central location to disseminate information on a tourist and or that kind of information. Historically, we're close to having an approved project that included on the grounds, some people parked here, some people parked in the round turnabout of where the rest area is. But we were proposing a big pavilion, and it was going to be 10,000 square feet, and it was really high tech, a lot of new things and stuff. And we got some bids on that, and found out that the building, or in order to build that 10,000 square foot thing, it was going to cost us like $9 million, which was about $5 million more than what we were willing to spend. And so we shifted or pivoted the focus of saying, okay, hey, we have the facilities, we have 46 acres, but we also have 3 existing and 1 building that were burnt. If we can kind of pivot to say, let's utilize the buildings that we have and stuff in order to move forward with the project. And the project includes not only the buildings themselves, but inside those buildings, we've partnered with OMSI. Most people in Oregon know who OMSI is and stuff like that, and they do a wonderful job of building exhibits and projects and stuff to engage children. And so we have got a contract with them, and they're very excited about the project. There's a couple of drawings back here and some other ones that they've proposed in utilizing these buildings. Good news from an update standpoint. We've all dealt with the county in the past and various things. As of Monday, we were finally finished our supplemental use permit that gave us permission to move forward with because this area right now is zoned as forest and a residential. In order to make a commercial one, we had to go through a supplemental use permit, and that was granted and effective. It was like a 6-month or a year process because you had to go through ODOT, what kind of traffic had to go to the state for wetlands, impacts on those, all the other different things that the county has asked us to do in order to move forward. The good news is that they're all in favor of that and have been supportive of it. It's just a really time-consuming project, and we have that check off of that hurdle is now cleared. And so we are in the process of not only renovating or bringing the 3 existing buildings back up to code or into a condition of where we can use the exhibits, but we're also planning, a part of the project is to rebuild. During the fire, the Holiday Farm fire, there was a maintenance barn that was just literally right across from here. And the end of this building was actually burnt too, but we've already fixed that. But we're going to rebuild that and give us a 4th building for exhibits, community events, things and stuff like that we're going to be able to use that for. And so that's the kind of the plan. This is the site plan that we have. And you can, at your convenience, kind of walk around and check it out. But people will use the existing entrance that you come into the area and stuff. But that center island out there will be a welcoming kiosk, a big kiosk and stuff that tells everybody of where you want to go, where the exhibits are, things like that. And you walk across down through, and there's a beautiful promenade of big fir trees and stuff there right now that you'll walk through. And there'll be some signage, and so the superintendent's office will become the welcome center. And then from the welcome center, it'll have you know, things and stuff of what to do for the day and stuff like that. And then you'd go across, we'll have some landscaping and some stories and stuff in the 3 existing ponds that are out front. And then you go to the hatchery building, then we call it the community building, and then the new barn. And so all 4 of those will tell 3 distinct storylines for the Discovery Center, which include, you know, the culture, the people, the geology, and the fish and stuff, different aspects of what we want to do. And in those buildings we'll have interactive exhibits and stuff that OMSI is developing, but we've also had the good fortune to contract with an Emmy Award-winning filmmaker. And he's an Oregonian, lives over in, I think it's Nestucca or someplace on the coast. And he's won now 2 Emmys. It's some beautiful, beautiful photography, tells stories and stuff like that. So each of these buildings will have a film on each storyline, and then the exhibits will kind of fill in and give you interactive stuff of what the film either talks about and or kind of fills in those gaps. And so those films will be finished next month, October.
Wow.
Well, I guess it's a month and a half because we're still, you know, in a day or 2, but we're coming up on September already. And so October we're looking at some first viewings and stuff of those films. We have 5 films that he has. One of them is kind of geared toward marketing or donors and stuff like that, talk about the project as a whole. But 3 of those films will be along the storylines that we're trying to tell, and they will be displayed. So each of those buildings will have you know, those screens and films and stuff in those, in addition to the exhibits themselves. The other thing, if you're not familiar with, is in the last couple of years, we've been working with the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, and we have rewatered the pond back here. And so it's for wildlife, for kids to learn about, you know, rough-skinned newts and anything else that's in there. It's currently stocked. There's some fish in there. If you're not familiar, Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, this is our state tax dollars at work. We have one branch of the government suing the other branch. So DEQ is suing ODFW because they say the water going out of the hatchery is warm or is too warm. And some judge rules, okay, yeah, you gotta shut it down if it gets above 60 degrees. What they didn't tell the judge is the water going in to the hatchery in August is at 62 degrees.
Wow.
So, you know, what do? So this is our, you know, dilemma. Bottom line is, now that I've got off my soapbox on that one, is they had to, in their display pond, they had 11 sturgeon, and they had to find a home for them. They released several, but we have 5 sturgeon in the pond.
So what about the big sturgeon?
It's in there.
The one that was over there?
That's an 8-foot fish, yeah. All those fish are in there.
Yeah, what was his name?
He had a name too.
The general or something.
The general, yeah.
Yeah. So he's happily swimming in our pond.
In a
Okay.
big pond.
Because my daughter's been asking.
If you want, you're more than welcome to. The problem that you have with this is at the hatchery, that display pond had a little outlet right off the river, and they had a lot of flow through it. This one here comes from Hatchery Creek, and we don't have a tremendous amount of water, so the color in the water, and those fish stir up the bottom and stuff like that. So they're bottom feeders, they're hard to see, but if you're in the right place and you have some patience, you'll see them. You'll see them. They'll come around and stuff. That big one, I mean, it looks like a shark.
Wow.
It's like an 8-foot fish.
She calls it a dinosaur.
It is.
It
They
is
look
a
like that.
dinosaur.
They got the little plates on them and stuff like that. And so part of the Discovery Center will include, you know, not only the pond, but if you've had the opportunity, we've had some volunteer work over the last several years and stuff. We've developed a trail all the way around. Very nice, some people have donated time and effort, materials and stuff. We've got a little bridge on the back now. And I know I was out here last weekend shoveling gravel, finishing the last couple parts of it and stuff. But you can go all the way around the pond. So it's a project that not only is great for the community and education, things like that, but it's one that we're making progress on. The good news is when you look at how do we fund it, and stuff like that, the chamber has been very generous in helping us the last several years and stuff. Yeah, but it all counts. It all counts. And we also were lucky to, we've had a good relationship with our local legislators and stuff, and we were able to get some lottery dollars to help us, kind of push that forward. We expect, now that we have that permit from last week, to start doing renovation inside the buildings, starting in September, October, because we have to go through, each building has to have its own separate permit. And so we'll be starting that, and quite frankly, what we'll be doing is things like these pillars and stuff like that. This stuff all goes away, and it'll be all opened up, and you'll be able to see all of the beams and stuff in the hatchery building and this building and stuff like that. We're going to expand the bathrooms here to be ADA compliant. There'll be a little bit, we're going to add like 5 feet to the back of those and stuff like that. And so you'll see in the, realistically with the holiday coming on, rain, knock on wood, will be coming to Oregon in the next couple of months. And so we won't be doing a lot of excavation work and stuff because you're going to be working in the mud. But the interior parts of these buildings, we'll actually start here fourth quarter and have a lot of work, you'll see some stuff going on. And so I know a lot of people say, God, you've talked about it forever and you really don't see anything. I think you're going to see some real progress in the next year. Question?
So it's open to the public now?
It's open to the public now.
Well, I like going around the pond or anything.
Yeah, just park out there in the run and you can walk out the bridge, walk around, stuff like that. Once we start construction, we will have a gate or something like that because you're going to have heavy equipment and work and stuff. And it'll be a work site. But until that happens, that's we continue to maintain us as the Discovery. We had no obligation to, but we continue to pay for the porta potties and to run that for the convenience because we want it to be a community asset.
Oh, that's right. It's no longer a county park.
No. Right. Yeah. So we want it to be an asset to the community and stuff. And so we've kind of maintained it in that thing, but we will be transitioning as we get the buildings done and the exhibits and stuff like that. Then it'll change the format of that.
So there's a small building that will go in.
Yeah, this building, it's actually, when you say small, this is our latest one. Yeah, this fall. This is where the barn was.
Oh, okay.
Good effort.
Yeah, well, I tried. But you can see that it's actually, all of these buildings are part of the state or national historic district and stuff, and so we're limited on what we can do as far as appearance and stuff like that on the outside. What we found out is we do not have to, since that building burnt in the fire, quite frankly, they don't want us to make it look like it's always been there. They want people to know that that building was gone, it's lost and stuff, and here's a new building to do that. So we were kind of jumping through hoops to say it's got to be on the same footprint and look like this. Now, actually, they said, we really don't want you to do that. And so we're expanding, this barn will be significantly bigger than what it was so that we can utilize, it was just a small maintenance one. So it's going to be about 1,900 square feet. Not big, but it's bigger than the 700 that was there.
Wow. And so that is a structure.
So
to the right.
This is the new structure. So right where everybody's parked over here, that's where the new building
No,
will
I'm
be.
interested in the one in the circle, in the parking area there.
Oh, yeah, this is really a kiosk. If you look at some of these pictures, it's open air. It's an open air, it's not a new building. But another one that's open air that doesn't really show here, it just is here. There will be a structure between these two buildings, the hatchery and this, that'll be a big, so this whole area here will be an open air.
But it'll be covered.
It'll be covered. So it'll be all accessible. We call it an event plaza. So that It occasionally rains in Oregon, so that we can have events, be able to utilize that space that's out, have like pavers on it and stuff like that. So that'll all be open air, usable space. Any questions or anything like that? I think that's
So
kind of
will
where
that-
we're at
that would
right
stay
now.
like a visitor kiosk, or all the visitor part will come inside?
Well, the visitor parking, so the parking is going to be in the same area, but we're also expanding where the fire burnt over that way. This is all new parking over here. As you go east, and so we'll punch out that there, and this is where we'll have parking for like school buses and stuff like that. So we anticipate, you know, a lot of activity of, you know, day things and stuff where kids will come out and have a field day, you know, those kind of things and stuff like that. And so we have 6 or 8 places for school buses. People have RVs and things. The other thing that we have to accommodate now for is electric vehicles, so we have to have a charging station for EVs as part of our permit.
As part of it.
Yeah, the county, as of 2022, any new construction requires 20% of your parking to be EV. So, whether you agree or disagree, that's a whole nother story.
Oh, those darn
But-
EV drivers.
But we will have some EV charging over in this area right here.
And do you have a Facebook and website?
We have a
presence
website.
where
I don't,
we could see a lot of
I'm not
this?
aware of, I know Ken,
I haven't
we
gotten
had
it.
somebody that was doing some
Yeah,
Facebook stuff, blogs and things like that, but I don't know what the site number is and stuff like that, but it's
I could do a
definitely
search.
have.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
do a search. but-
Yeah, so it's McKenzie River Discovery Center. We have a website, according to Ken. I don't have a Facebook. I am too old. I don't want people to know. They could care less where I'm eating dinner or all the other things you put on Facebook. And I really don't want them to know. So I don't do that. But websites, yes, we do all of that.
so what about a soft opening date?
Right now, we're projecting that we will have the interior of these buildings and stuff like that done. Part of it's going to depend on OMSI and how quick they are on some of their exhibits and coordinating those. We'll definitely have the films already in the can. Fourth quarter of next year would be the earliest, probably first quarter of 2026 I would expect to have some kind of a, you know, public grand opening or soft opening where people can have hands-on. But, you know, guys like the chamber, people want to say, hey, can we have a private tour or do some stuff to see how the project is going or something. We're always open to, you know, these projects are, I mean, we're all volunteers. You know, you're talking about getting volunteers for that. You know, we're volunteer board and stuff like that. And so it's in order to make something like this happen, it takes a lot of volunteers. It takes a lot of community effort. People who buy in and say, yeah, we want to support that. People say, yeah, hey, I've got a tractor, an excavator, I can help do this. Or eWeb says, you know, hey, we can, you know, build those EV stations for you, or whatever. So it's, this project is going to be something that's going to be really not just us developing that. It's going to be, you know, people stepping up and helping where they can.
To maintain.
Yeah.
And since I'm kind of late in the game to get familiar with what's going on, how long have you been working on
gosh.
this? It's not a fire rebuild type
No,
of effort.
oh no,
It's been-
we've been, it was a dream for about 11 or 12 years,
Wow.
probably maybe a little longer than that. Ken was involved, and it was called Friends of the McKenzie Hatchery for years before it developed into the Discovery Center concept. But
Yeah, it actually started back in probably 1996.
yeah, so
When-
it's 20 plus years.
Prior to that, the property was owned by both eWeb and Lane County. And I think they flipped a coin to see who was going to take over. So
Yeah, and-
ownership in the county won or lost, depending
Yeah,
on who.
no, I was going to say, quite frankly, these guys were so excited we offered to take control of this because it was an albatross for them on their neck. And if so, they said 99 years, we'll give it to you for, you know, as long as you want, because it's an opportunity and it's a wonderful site. You know, like you say, the hatchery was built originally in 1907. Got a tremendous amount of historic value and things like that that the community has been able to see and participated in for many, many generations. And there's a lot of really historic things that have happened here. This particular building is where Keith Steele built over 1,000 boats in over the several years and stuff that he was in business and stuff, and a lot of different ones. If you haven't had the chance to kind of look in the hatchery building and walk around, there's kind of a sequence of pictures. We had a exhibit at the Springfield, there on Main Street at the museum there for, I don't know, 6 months a year that they had, and we developed these posters and stuff, and it tells a story of the evolution of the boat and the history and stuff like that. And it's really kind of a fascinating story. And this boat, now that we know as the McKenzie River Drift boat, is really used worldwide. And it's kind of an iconic, the design, how it was created, and what led to that.
Well, among all of the spaces that have, learning opportunities, is there space also set aside for community uses?
Well, when you say community, what are you at? I'm not sure.
Suppose you wanted to have a gathering of some kind.
Oh, yeah, I think things like if somebody said, quite frankly, in the last couple of years, we've had the guides' wives dinner in the hatchery building. We've had
well, certainly you did that then, but would you do it in the future?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or would, say, the chamber have access to space where they could have a meeting?
If you said, yeah, absolutely. We're planning on having like this building here, of having like every month or something, have a lecture series or other kinds of things of people.
That are community related.
So that are community related, whoever wants to sponsor them will do those kind of things and stuff. So yeah, these buildings are not just exhibit spaces.
Right.
They are intended for the new building. Quite frankly, a big part of that is designed for, like I said, we're going to have these movies and stuff. If you have, specific movies and stuff like that that you want to do in a community thing, that somebody has a traveling deal or traveling stuff like that, that we could show them and have people come and utilize that as a thing. But things like this plaza out in front and stuff, you can say, hey, let's have a, whatever, the garden club wants to sell their stuff out here in the plaza.
That sounds
Those are all
attractive.
wonderful opportunities for people to take advantage of.
Okay, so community engagement and
Yes.
involvement.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so.
And then I did like, it seemed like I understood, you made some reference to the location here and what you're envisioning for the future. Again, being somewhat new to the area, it seems like this location and your vision of how you want to present what you're going to seems to tie in well with the location as kind of like a gateway
Well, that's
to the
exactly,
river.
gateway's a
It's
good
like
word.
you start coming upriver, but
Yeah.
before you get too far
So
or wonder what's going
How do you
on,
want to spend your day?
stop and
Stop in
check.
here, it's a big information, you want a picnic,
Seems
you
a
want to go to the
perfect
hot springs, you
spot.
want to look at some waterfalls, you can come here and
Yeah.
have that way to say. And we're hoping that we were so devastated after the fire and COVID and stuff like that. Getting people, businesses and stuff like that, we've lost a lot of, restaurants and other kinds of things, but get people to stop and to utilize the area economically. Tourism is our future, quite frankly. You got this vision here, we're no longer going to build dams and have a logging industry and stuff like that. So that new vision of what this valley is going to be really key to, what can we offer and show people. Why do they want to spend their dollars here in the valley? And this would be like I said, a great gateway to introduce them. And this is their first stop, and they can go wherever, or they can spend the whole day here if they want.
Yes, it sounds like it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
So does Traveling County have some interconnectedness with what the group is planning to do in terms of interacting?
I'm not sure I understand where
Well,
your question is, Carol.
Are they aware? How aware?
Like Travel Oregon, you mean?
No,
Or
not
Traveling
Traveling County.
Travel Lake County? I think they're aware of what we're trying to do, yes, the
And
county
how-
has been, yeah.
How much are you engaging with them in terms of serving that role for helping the traveling public?
We count on guys like Ken Engelman to be our liaisons.
I've been
Because you have
talking-
people who already have those contacts.
Right. yeah.
I've been talking to Natalie and Carrie
Right.
since the 90s.
Yeah,
They're very aware of what's going on here
yeah,
and very supportive.
yeah. And so we had actually guys from the Park Commission 2 weeks ago on their board, and they're just volunteers. They're what they call their PAC, their Park Advisory Committee, or whatever. Several of them came up and toured, kind of walked around, spent the day or several hours and stuff. All of the county commissioners, things like that. We've have quite frankly tried very purposely to engage them as much as possible to not only know what's going on, but actually support that when we have opportunities for, whether they're grants or other kinds of things.
But always, the further you get along, the more the progress is visible. It's probably easier to bring more people in to
Yeah.
see and ask of them for
Yeah.
different types of support. So
Yeah.
it sounds like you now have a lot of momentum.
We
Where
have,
for the last 20 years, it was
Yeah,
hard
well-
to see that momentum.
yeah, and the last, I would say we had a tremendous amount of momentum in the last 3 to 5 years, as opposed to that 20 plus years. I think, I kind of joke about it. We had all of these guys that had these great dreams all the time, and then we got some women on our board.
Oh
And
my.
they actually made us do stuff.
Oh my. Well,
Yeah.
whatever worked.
Yeah,
It's nice
no,
to hear.
it's a,
Two,
I joke about that, but it really is, there's a certain amount of truth in that.
but potentially 2 more years.
Yeah.
And you'll see.
2 more years, you will see,
Wow.
we will have a grand opening where people, if
That's
you
quite the
haven't
difference.
noticed, there's probably about 6 or 8 cars and trucks that are parked up on top of the bench up there. It's the Northwest Youth Corps. We've had a great working relationship with them. They helped, immediately after the fire, we utilized the hatchery building as a relief center. And they came in and they had some grants and stuff, and they redid all of the parking and stuff. We didn't have dump trucks and stuff like that. They had 20, I know how they built the Great Wall of China or the pyramids. They had all these kids out there with shovels and stuff,
Oh, wow.
hey, we could have some, no, they completely filled in all of the gravel and tore the area where the building had burnt for parking and helped us really open the relief center and get that up and running and stuff like that. They cut down a lot of hazard trees. They're up there now because they are the sponsors of a school. And they were here a couple of weeks ago and did some invasive grasses and stuff, some blackberries and things like that. But they have another one scheduled to help us. They'll really do things like building trails and cutting down blackberries and planting new native things and stuff like that. So we have a great partnership with the Youth Corps. It's a win-win because I get free labor and they
Yes.
have a place to come out and teach their kids how to build a trail or how to fall hazard trees or how to just cut up or clean things up, and they get credit for that for community service and things in their schooling. So it's a great thing when you realize that you can, I just call it a win-win because the guys that are up there now are really the staff, so that they know what the projects are. And so in October, they're going to bring out, I think, 40 kids for some of this, and they camp out. They camp up on top of the hill.
They probably love it.
Oh, God, yeah, the kids that came down there, they were more excited than I was just to have a place to come out. And they got their waders on and they were playing around on the edge of the water, pulling up weeds and doing their stuff. So it's a great learning experience.
Don't step on the jungle.
Yeah. Nah.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're more than welcome, and you'll bring it and say, where'd that fish go? I said, I know where
If you could find it.
they're hiding in there. Any other questions, things we can do? Certainly welcome you to spend as much time and to do those things. We appreciate you guys have been very instrumental in helping us in the past. Before we, he said it wasn't a lot of money, but quite frankly, it was a lifeline. And a lot of times when we didn't have lottery dollars, we
Well,
didn't have
and
things.
I haven't seen a statement of what you're doing this year, so that the invoice can be paid.
Okay. I know that's a Shirley question.
Okay.
Shirley is our executive director.
So what about plans for fundraising for the rest of the project?
Fundraising and stuff like that, we really are kind of at a point where we've had kind of some soft, I'll call it a soft donation thing for the first one, because we really didn't have a lot of things to show or do. We had a vision of what we were trying to do. now that we have our supplemental use permit, we have hard drawings from our architecture. We have Chambers Construction, we have TBG. Our TBG was our first one. We are currently contracted with an architectural firm called GMA, and they are doing all of the architectural drawings and stuff like that. So we can really have a portfolio to go to a potential donor, and or have really a more sophisticated campaign, you know, to look and say for fundraising. I would say that we would plan on probably really pushing kicking off a public campaign, looking for donations and volunteerism and things like that, probably the first quarter of this year. I know we have some board members that want to go out today, and they do quietly. They go out and they're all excited and stuff of doing that, but we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. We want to make sure we have a very clear message of what we're doing, how we're doing it, what it's going to look like, and a timeline. And that way we can go out to potential donors and say, here's what we're doing here on the site. So I would be looking for that, you know, end of the year.
Okay,
Any other questions?
well, thanks very much.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you.